from the Sac Observer. He's a host of the Believe in Kings podcast, and he's involved in another 3 in the Paint podcast.
Yes,
he's a co-host of that. Yeah.
Really?
Mark Haynes, how are you, Mark?
Get collecting them checks.
Good, man. I'm just trying to keep up with you guys, man. I'm trying to keep up with the best.
The Prince of Podcasting, Mark Haynes. That's what he is.
Put the crown on him, huh?
Mark, how much do you have you host the Believe in Kings podcast? How much do you believe in these new Sacramento Kings?
You know, I'll say this. My belief in them is definitely growing. I like the addition of Zach LaVine and Valanciunas and Jake Lavaria. There we go.
LaRavia.
LaRavia. I always want to put a V. I don't know. My bad, Jake. But I like the addition. I like the addition of those 3, but essentially in exchange for one De'Aaron Fox.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm believing this team is better. That's what I believe.
I guess,
wow,
I was going to say, if you believe and you say better, I guess I'll double down on it, Mark. When you say better, in what forms are they better prior to the trade deadline?
Well, the biggest thing for me is the bench. The bench is better. Simply just having Valanciunas, coming in as the backup center, and already he's been doing what he's done his whole career, which is be a monster on the boards, and he could easily get you a quick double in, really 2 quarters or whatever. So he's been I think he's going to be a really good, second backup center coming in for Sabonis or whatever. And that's something that the Kings haven't had or haven't been able to, maintain throughout Sabonis' tenure. So, he's already came in and, gave good minutes during times where Sabonis is in foul trouble, where essentially if that same team with Fox and Lynn and Herter or whatever, the Kings would have been in a lot more trouble. They had come out on top on those games, but the bench just looks better. It's a little more depth, and that's what I think as time goes, I think they'll grow together a little better, and I'm big. I've been a big Valanciunas fan, so I'm excited.
Yeah, that's Mark Haynes, the Prince of Podcasting from the Sac Observer,
PP,
host of the Believe in Kings podcast. So, speaking of Domas and Jonas, what'd you think of them on the floor at the same time last night?
Interesting. I still have to process it completely because there is going to be situations where that is going to be needed.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of these teams with, teams going small and playing small ball or whatever, it's going to, kind of X that option out. But there's definitely times where, they're going to have to be on, or it's going to be beneficial for both of them to be on the court. And I think, this is the perfect time in these next stretch of games to, I want to see it again. I want to see, how they, we've seen what they could do, on during the Olympics and stuff with Team Lithuania.
Yeah.
And, so they have the chemistry, they know how to work together. And I hopefully that's not the last time we see it.
Joined by Mark Haynes of the Sacramento Observer. Mark, one of the things that I've, and we just kind of talked about it here on the show, is giving Malik Monk the keys to the car. It's his show to run right now for the Sacramento Kings. And one of the things Whitey has talked about today is turnovers. We got to be better at better at not turning the ball over. Do you think Malik at this moment can handle the keys to the car for the rest of the season?
I believe he can. And I think, obviously I kind of expected him to, kind of have this reaction as far as, his turnovers. He's always, he's turned the ball over, but right now being, like you say, having the keys to the car, it seems like he's more liable to, turn the ball over at any second because he's in control. But I do think, he has the ability to be a better floor general than he has been. And I do know this is a situation that Malik wanted. Malik want he's seen he's obviously with when the whole De'Aaron drama and everything going on, he's seen an opportunity to where he could be that guy or whatever. So I know mentally he wanted it. And, sometimes you can want something so bad when you get it, you just kind of fumble at it and stuff or whatever. So I think, as once he gets into his mind that, this is my job to lose, then I think that's when it's kind of, things will slow down for him. He'll become a little more efficient. And, I think we'll see a better Malik Monk. But I do think he's prepared and has the talent to be that lead guy.
Mm-hmm. That's Mark Haynes from the Sac Observer. Mark, we've been talking about potential nicknames for Sabonis and Valanciunas, and I just got one here from the one and only Bobby Gerald. He says Sabonis and Valanciunas, if they were a metal band, they'd be called Bone Chew. So for bonus and
leave it up to Bobby G.
Yeah.
Musically inclined.
A lot of different ideas today, Mark. But I wanted to ask you about Doug Christie. How do you think he has, in the short time he's been head coach, how have you seen him grow in this role, perhaps, or evolve as a coach in this short time?
I felt like as games went, you're seeing him get, by more and more into, being the head coach.
Mm-hmm.
At first it was kind of awkward for, everybody, even media. It was like, I remember getting ready to ask Doug a question and I almost called him Mike, even though I know who he is. But yeah, I think he, especially after that game where he took the team up to see the beam and stuff, and he talked to him and gave him that, that speech right before they went on that big run. And I think he's settling into, understanding like obviously he knows there's different responsibilities from, assistant to head.
Yeah. But
I think he's seeing that, the city is behind him, the team is behind him. And they're very, very similar to Malik Monk. This is, if he can successfully complete this season, that being maybe a play-in. I don't know what the requirements is for a successful season right now, but for me, just making it into the play-in and potentially, getting into the first round would be a huge success, being how the team has looked, early on this season. If he's able to do that or even slide into the playoffs, it's his job to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't see the Kings saying, I don't see Vivek and Monty saying, we're not going to give him the get rid of the interim name if he can have that type of success to close the season. I think he understands that. I think right now he's comfortable with his position that he's in. And I think that's why you also see, because, a lot of people, question about seeing Valanciunas and Sabonis on the court at the same time. I think he's trying things out, which, if you are the head coach, that's what you're going to do. You're going to try to figure out, you may see some lineups out there that aren't, the prettiest on the eyes, but he's trying to figure out this team. And I think if he do, then that's when the team will be at its best.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, as far as we've been talking about lineups all day, if you are, and I think this is something that the Kings are, we're talking about Coach Doug Christie, you're trying to figure out the minutes for everyone. Who's your closer lineup for right now, just looking at this squad? And let's just say everybody's healthy, no one's fouled out. Who do you think you close the game with? Who would Mark Haynes be looking to close the game out with for this Kings team?
Well, I think I think there's, let me see, 1, 2, there's two guys that have to be in closing minutes. And one is obviously Sabonis. And I think the other for me is Keegan Murray. And that's because of what he's able to do defensively. And obviously, situational, things, can change, anybody from being in or out. But when you got those two in, I think you have to go and I'm off the top of my mind, I'm thinking the Kings have the ball. I want Malik Monk in. I want Zach LaVine in. DeMar. I want the starters in. But if this is a defensive situation, or maybe a situation where we don't have a timeout, so it's like we gotta get the board and go, or whatever, get a stop and go. I need Keon somehow in that lineup. And right now, I know I heard people talking earlier about Zach's making so much money, and they have to play him, or he's not playing up to par, or whatnot. Zach is my guy. I would have to get out of the game at that moment, and Keon Ellis would be in.
All right. Make sure you check out, if you haven't already, the Believe in Kings podcast. Also, the 3 in the Paint. That's the name of it, right, Mark?
Yes, sir. You got it.
Yep.
Yes,
yeah, he's the co-host of that one. Mark Haynes, we appreciate it. Mark, I guess we'll see you on Friday, February 21st, when the Warriors visit Golden One Center. So
he's the real podcast, P.
Yeah. And enjoy your break. Enjoy your podcast. Enjoy the games tomorrow and Thursday. And we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Yep. You're very, very welcome. When we come back.
Mark.
Yeah.